On a cold winter evening when the city, lights of Manhattan glittered like they didn't belong to the people walking beneath them, a small, disabled, homeless girl sat alone on the steps of an old, closed bakery, clutching a tiny cupcake with one broken candle stuck in the middle, her legs twisted slightly beneath, her worn blanket as she rocked, gently back and forth, whispering a birthday song to herself because there was no one else to sing it for her. No parents, no friends, no home, just the echo of her own fragile voice disappearing into the noise of traffic and indifference. And across the street, stepping out of a sleek black luxury car, stood billionaire Ethan Cross, a man whose name made headlines, whose wealth could change nations, but whose eyes froze the moment they landed on that lonely child, smiling at a flickering candle as if it were the greatest gift in the world, and something inside him cracked in a way no boardroom loss or stock crash ever had. Ethan had just finished a celebration, dinner for his company's record-breaking profits. Yet here was a child with nothing celebrating more sincerely than anyone he'd seen all night. And as he watched her struggle to clap with hands stiff from the cold, memories he buried deep resurfaced. Memories of his own childhood spent in shelters after his parents died. Memories of birthdays where hope was the only present, and without realizing it, his feet carried him across the street while his security hesitated, unsure whether to stop him, but Ethan waved them back, kneeling slowly in front of the girl as the candle flickered, dangerously close to going out. And he softly asked, "Is today your birthday?" To which she looked up startled, but smiled wide and nodded, saying her name was Lily and that she was turning 10, though her small frame made her look younger. And when he asked where her family was, she simply said, "It's just me." But that's okay, in a way that broke him more than tears ever could. And when he offered to buy her food, she hesitated, not out of fear, but dignity, saying she didn't want charity. She just wanted someone to sit with her while she finished her birthday song. And so the billionaire CEO sat on the cold pavement beside a homeless, disabled child as traffic rushed past, singing softly while strangers stared, some recording, some laughing, some crying. And when the candle finally went out, Lily closed her eyes and whispered a wish. And when Ethan asked what she wished for, she said, "I wish to walk one day, or at least have a bed where I don't wake up hurting." And in that moment, something irreversible happened inside Ethan Cross, because he realized that all his money meant nothing if it couldn't answer a prayer, whispered by a child to the dark. And as he stood up, taking off his expensive coat and wrapping it around her trembling shoulders, he promised her not money, not miracles, but something far rarer. "You won't be alone anymore." And as the night swallowed the city, none of the onlookers knew that this quiet promise was about to shock the world. And if this story already touches your heart, remember to subscribe to the channel, because stories like Lily's remind us that kindness can rewrite destinies. The next morning, the city woke up to a viral video of a billionaire kneeling beside a disabled homeless girl. But what the world didn't see was what happened after the cameras stopped rolling, when Ethan personally took Lily to a private hospital, insisting she be treated with the same care as royalty, uncovering years of untreated nerve damage that could have been helped long ago. And when doctors explained that surgery and long-term therapy could allow her to walk with support, Ethan didn't ask the cost. He asked how soon they could begin. And within days, Lily was in a warm room with clean sheets, real meals, and nurses who smiled at her like she mattered. While Ethan visited every evening despite media pressure, despite shareholders questioning his emotional decisions, and when reporters accused him of staging charity for publicity, he silenced them by establishing the Lily Foundation, funding medical care, housing, and education for disabled homeless children across the country. And what truly stunned everyone wasn't the millions donated, but the moment months later when Ethan walked onto a small rehabilitation stage holding Lily's hand as she took her first assisted steps in front of doctors, staff, and children just like her, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "My wish came true." And Ethan, the man who once measured success in numbers, finally understood that true wealth was standing beside someone when they rise. And as Lily eventually moved into a permanent home, enrolled in school, and celebrated her next birthday surrounded by friends, cake, and laughter, Ethan stood in the back of the room, not as a savior, but as a witness to what happens when compassion replaces indifference, and the story spread beyond headlines, inspiring thousands to adopt, donate, volunteer, and simply notice the invisible people around them, because Lily was never the only one. She was just the one someone finally stopped for. And as the narrator's voice fades, the message becomes clear. You don't need to be a billionaire to change a life. You just need to care. And if this story moved you, if it reminded you of the power of kindness, humanity, and hope, then subscribe to this channel, because every story here exists to awaken the good still beating in the world. As the weeks turned into months, Ethan Cross found himself measuring time not in meetings or market charts, but in Lily's progress, in the way her hands shook less when she stood, in how her smile grew wider every time she completed a painful exercise without crying. And one quiet afternoon, as rain tapped softly against the hospital window, Lily looked at him with eyes far older than her years and asked in a trembling voice, "Do you think people are born just to suffer? Or do they suffer so someone else can notice them?" And that question struck Ethan harder than any loss he had ever faced, because he realized Lily hadn't just been invisible to the world, she had been invisible to him too, until he chose to look, and from that day forward, Ethan stopped being a visitor and started becoming family, attending school meetings, therapy updates, even sitting through nights when Lily woke up screaming from pain or fear. And slowly, without announcements or headlines, the billionaire began restructuring his entire life around one child who once celebrated her birthday alone on the street. And the real shock came when Ethan publicly stepped down as CEO for 6 months, stunning shareholders and the media alike, announcing that no company deserves my full attention if a child's future depends on it. And while critics mocked him, Lily took her first unassisted step during that same week, falling into his arms as the room erupted in tears. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt richer than any balance sheet could ever show, because that single step carried more meaning than all his achievements combined. And when Lily later stood on a small stage at a foundation event, leaning on a brace but standing tall, she told the audience, "I used to think birthdays were just wishes that never came true. But someone noticed me." And the room fell silent, because everyone understood that the miracle wasn't money or medicine, it was presence. And as Lily was later adopted into a permanent home chosen by her, not forced upon her, Ethan remained a constant figure, not as a savior, but as proof that one moment of compassion can echo through a lifetime. And as the narrator's voice softens toward the end, the message reaches the viewer's heart. Somewhere right now, someone is celebrating alone. Someone is hurting silently, waiting not for riches but for recognition. And if this story moved you even a little, if it reminded you that humanity still matters, subscribe to this channel, because every story we share is a reminder that noticing someone can change everything.